On today's Strictly Vikings, we are going to be taking a look back at Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's last three NFL drafts. Why? Because there's absolutely nothing else to talk about regarding the Minnesota Vikings. So we're going to get into a little bit of it all, a little bit of the past. We're just going to go and we're just going to start and we're just going to see where the podcast takes us, if you know what I mean. Aaron Rodgers was shut down by the Vikings. McCarthy is looking healthy. We'll take our side eye look around the league, see what else is popping. There was still some free agency news, nothing really important, but just stuff I kind of want to highlight. And of course, we'll finish it off with our ChatGPT player of the day. Let's get into it. Today is Wednesday, March 26th, and today we're going to be looking at Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's drafts. But first, I want to talk about March Madness because I've been watching a lot of basketball lately, and let me tell you, I've been getting hot. I went 7-1 on Sunday. I think I went up 3 units on Saturday. I went down 3 units on Friday, but I was up 13 units. No, 16 units on Thursday. It's the greatest time of the year for college basketball. I start paying attention to college basketball as soon as the NFL season ends. As soon as the Super Bowl is over, it's college basketball. It's usually on that Monday. There's games and I'm watching. I don't know why I've been getting hot. I feel like it's almost because I've been betting the lines and not the teams. And I know that's kind of a cliche saying, like you should bet don't bet with your heart, bet with your mind, do the numbers, do all that. But at the same time, I'm just kind of going in blind. And ultimately, it is a 50-50 guess. And I just happen to be getting lucky. I mean, there are days in the NFL season where I get really hot and I feel like a genius. But then the next week, I get absolutely crapped on. And then I feel like I know nothing about football. It's literally just all a guessing game. And in the long run, you're not going to make money. Why do I do it? Because it's a hobby of mine. And if you are sports betting, it should be a hobby and it shouldn't just be like I'm trying to win money, because in the end, you are going to lose. But with that being said, I watched a lot of college basketball, bet a lot of money responsibly, and won a lot of money responsibly. What I'm going to do with that money, don't know, because in the long run, technically, I'm still down. I'm not up at all. But whenever the book pays, it's like, okay, then you feel like you're up. Anyway, getting to March Madness, it feels like the madness hasn't been madness this year. And I know this is a football podcast, but I just want to touch on this. NIL might be ruining all of the madness. Not a single 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed lost. First time that's happened in, I think, 8 years. I think 2017 was the last time that had happened. No mid-majors are advancing. I think the highest seed, or the lowest seed, I guess I should say, is Arkansas, number 10. And even then, it's like, it's Coach Calipari, SEC. How much of an underdog are they? They knocked off St. John's, but that doesn't really scream underdog to me. Coach Cal doesn't scream underdog. So I think it's just these guys who have good seasons in mid-majors, they don't stay there for multiple years. It's 1 year. I'm going to go chase a bag at a Big Ten school or an SEC school, get my money while I can, because most of these guys aren't going to, like Jack Golke. He is a perfect candidate for last year, came onto the scene in the tournament. If he wasn't a senior, go to a big-time school, get your bag, ball out, and then go play overseas. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it seems like there's just it kind of nerfed the Cinderella stories. I don't want to say it got rid of the madness, but it got rid of the Cinderella stories. There hasn't really been any Cinderella stories, but that doesn't matter. The higher the seeds are, the later the tournament gets, the better the games are. We're not going to have an Elite Eight of St. Peter's versus a number 1 seed. And, we'll see what happens from there. That's just not going to happen. So the better teams are in the Sweet 16, and that's going to be exciting. And football podcast, but it's just top of mind because I've been watching a lot of college basketball lately. Anyway, let's get into some news and notes for our beloved Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Rodgers is not going to become a Minnesota Viking. He is searching for a team with the Packers-like culture, is what he said, which screams, I want to be a Minnesota Viking. And the Vikings didn't put it to rest. Like they didn't completely say we're not signing Aaron Rodgers. They just said we're not doing it now. They haven't signed a backup quarterback yet. So is the option of bringing in Aaron Rodgers still a possibility? Yes. Would I put money on it right now that he's going to be a Minnesota Viking? No. Diana Rossini went on, I forget what show she went on, but it wasn't a report. She made clear it wasn't a report. But if she had to guess which team he would play for, it was the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I'm glad we're kind of moving on from this. I want JJ McCarthy to be a guy. I believe he deserves to be the guy. But at the same time, the chaos of having Aaron Rodgers in a Vikings jersey would be something special. I think of Sunday Night Football, November night. Vikings are, 6-2. Packers are 5-3. Big game of the division. Aaron Rodgers running out there, Lambeau Field. Everyone's pumped. And Aaron Rodgers is wearing that purple helmet. And it's just like, oh my God, this is incredible. That would be such an exciting game. And all of you guys listening to it know it. You guys know that would be an exciting game to watch. Aaron Rodgers going back into Lambeau Field. We saw it with Brett Favre. We saw how electric it was. And it would be even more exciting to see Aaron Rodgers do it just because of how more controversial he is. Do I want him to be a Viking? No. I'm saying 70% of me does not want him to be Viking. 30% does. Because the chaos here would be awesome. We went over the pros and cons last week, but the chaos would be kind of fun. The offseason would be fun. The anticipation of this season would be fun because we are putting all of our chips in the middle of in the table and we're saying we're trying to win a Super Bowl this season. And that's an exciting thing. JJ McCarthy looks to be putting on some weight from the end of last season. He appeared on the Up and Adams show. Weight is around 207 to 209. Never thought I'd be so concerned with another man's weight, especially a man who was younger than me, which is just very odd for me to comprehend now. I am 24 years old, and don't get me wrong, there's still people being drafted that are 24 years old into the NFL. So that makes me feel good. But when JJ McCarthy is younger than me, and I know I'm going to be putting my feelings into his hands every Sunday, just seems odd. I'm not like a you shouldn't wear a younger kid's jersey than you. I'm just more of a let's just remember these people are human beings. Let's not treat them like they're, solving world hunger out here, I guess. Like, let's just not glaze them. Let's not glaze these kids. Like, don't be a 40-year-old man and, going up to ask for autographs and trying to just, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. And if you're getting upset about it, then you're probably one of those people who do that kind of stuff. But anyway, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah will be talking to the media this week. If you were listening to this on Wednesday, he was going to be talking to the media today. He might have already done it if you are listening to this on Wednesday. What he says, I don't know. Let's make a prediction on what he says. He says, well, I did the math and our offensive line sucked last year, so I got some new offensive linemen. I did the math. Our defensive line wasn't very good last year, so I got some new defensive linemen. We couldn't run in the red zone, and I did the math, and Jordan Mason can run in the end zone, so we got Jordan Mason. And then Rondale Moore is really fast. And I like fast players. And Kevin O'Connell likes fast players, so I went out and got Rondale Moore. That probably gives you a very good gist of what Kwesi Adofo-Mensah said today. The Vikes met with Ryan Tannehill, but nothing seems to happen. I think it was more hypothetical than like concrete stuff. I think they were just going over what it would look like if Ryan Tannehill became a Viking rather than Ryan Tannehill is going to become a Viking. Rondale Moore is a Minnesota Viking. He's going to be a solid addition for sure. Wide receiver 3, We'll see. There'll be some competitions with him and Naylor and some other guys, I would imagine. Explosive guy, a guy who has torched the Vikings in the past, and another guy that can stretch the field, another gadget guy, punt returner, kick returner, whatever you want him to be. Why not bring him in? I love the pickup. The Vikings considered bringing in Josh Dobbs to be the backup. Why not? Why would everyone loves Josh Dobbs? Josh Dobbs is exciting. Even if he's the third string, it's cool to have him on the team. I've met him, cool guy, glazed him, but he's older than me, so that's a little different. And then he's just exciting. I mean, everybody loves him. The past or not. Why would you not bring him back? Patriots signed him. Good for him. He probably got more money than the Vikings were willing to offer him. Good for Josh Dobbs. New free agents talked about coming to the Minnesota Vikings. It seemed like they all had some pretty nice stuff to say about JJ McCarthy and how they got to talk to him a little bit while they arrived in Minnesota. Will Fries and Ryan Kelly especially. So glad that those guys are already off to a good relationship. Very important to have a quarterback-center relationship that is healthy, for sure. Ryan Kelly recruited Will Fries to the Minnesota Vikings. He stated that in the media day, and Ryan Kelly, way to go. Ryan Kelly and Vikings Twitter signed Will Fries. Official, make the graphic, hang the banner in the Vikings Twitter Hall of Fame, and we'll go on from there. Garrett Bradbury, which is gone. I'm not sure if we've talked about this. He is going to the Patriots. I was talking to my brother about this. It just seems kind of weird that he's gone. Like, it's almost as if when Kirk Cousins left, it's like, okay, this is just something new. Garrett Bradbury's been the center for a long time, something we got used to, something we didn't talk about a lot, but now he's gone. And now it's Ryan Kelly. I don't know, just something to think about. It just seems a little bit, it doesn't seem odd. Like, I'm not surprised that he's gone, but it's more like shocking. Like, oh, that's new, that's different. Different is fine, different is good, especially if Ryan Kelly is good. So I don't know. And the Vikings signed Tim Jones, 3 receptions for 41 yards last season. Couldn't tell you anything about him. I didn't watch the film. I just looked at his stats, and I figured it wasn't worth talking about. And the Vikings signed Jeff Okudah. Low risk, high reward. Let's see what B-Flow can do. I think we talked about it last week. They were meeting with him. They didn't sign him, but now they signed him. Why not? Former number 3 overall pick. Jeff Okudah signed me up. Maybe he's still got that dog in him. Who knows? All right, let's take a look around the league here quick. Jameis Winston signing with the Giants. They're taking a quarterback in the draft. I don't think you're signing Jameis Winston to be the starter, and the contract says that. I believe the contract is backup money. So I really find it hard to believe the Giants wouldn't be taking a quarterback, which leads me to believe they'll probably trade up with Cleveland just to make sure they get a quarterback, because I don't think they want to take the risk of Cleveland taking Shador. But we'll see what happens. Tyler Conklin signing with the Chargers. This isn't like that crazy of news. I just want to tell you guys a story. I was at a Timberwolves game once. This is a long time ago. Not a long time ago. 4 years ago, maybe. 5 years ago. I was at a Timberwolves game. I went to Cowboy Jacks before, so I had some beers. I was feeling good. Wasn't crazy. I saw Tyler Conklin at the game. This was in the middle of free agency. So, around March time. And I go up to him again. I've had some beers. I go up to him. I say, Tyler, what are they going to do with you? This is when he was, going back and forth. Vikings didn't know if they're going to re-sign him, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I'm going to the Jets. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're going to the Jets? I didn't see anything. And because you know me, I got the tweet notifications on, ESPN, Bleacher Report. I got them all on, right? Apparently, I didn't check my phone in the last 20 minutes. He says, I'm going to the Jets. I look at my phone and I go, no way. And again, I've had a couple. So I'm sure I was being pretty annoying to this dude. Gave him a pat on the shoulder. I kept giving him a pat on the shoulder. It was probably pretty hard too, because I can't really realize what I'm doing. Again, I've had a couple. I'm like, man, that stinks. Like, you were great, Minnesota. Minnesota loved you. Asked for a picture. Like, And I look back at that and I'm like, God, I was glazing Tyler Conklin. And I just told a story on here a couple of weeks ago about how I met Justin Jefferson, and that was insane. But it's crazy how far I've come now that I think about it. From going from Tyler Conklin to, and don't get me wrong, if I saw like Josh Oliver at a Timberwolves game, I would still be like, oh, Josh, what's up, man? Like, I would still be talking to him, blah, 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 blah. But it's just kind of crazy. Tyler Conklin, congrats, going to the Chargers. Aaron Rodgers spent 6 hours with the Steelers but didn't sign with them. I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers wants to be a Minnesota Viking so damn bad. The Giants signed Jameis. They're probably going to take a quarterback. Like, where else is there to go? Pittsburgh is the only option for Aaron Rodgers right now. He's waiting for the Minnesota Vikings to just be like, all right, Aaron, come on. Come to Minnesota, buddy. You can play with us. That's fine. That's fine. That's what he's waiting for. Brandon Cooks lands back in New Orleans. My only question is why? This probably gets you from 6 wins to 6 wins. Does absolutely nothing for me. Commanders signed Michael Gallup. Let me tell you a little bit about Michael Gallup. He was my fantasy stud sleeper in just about every draft for like 3 straight years. This dude is super talented. Unfortunately, he just dealt with a lot of injuries. There was a stretch to where he got hot during some random Cowboy season, and like people were like, Michael Gallup, he's the guy. He's the guy. Maybe he still could be the guy. I'm not sure. But I have a hard time believing he'll find his way into this Commanders offense with, Terry and Debo and all those other guys they got. We'll see. A little bit of NBA news for you. The Celtics sold for $6.1 billion. Who in the hell is selling the Boston Celtics now when they're like second in title odds and you have like one of the best rosters in the NBA, if not the best? Are you selling high? I guess. But I would wait for after this season maybe. But $6.1 billion is an absurd amount of money. Mecole Hardman signed with the Packers. And all I have to say is after all that DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, Debo Samuel, who else? All of these number one guys. What Jamar Chase, they probably didn't mention Jamar Chase, but all these Packer fans saying, we're going to get our wide receiver 1. We're going to get him. And they just sign a guy that they already have 5 of. They already have 5 Mecole Hardmans. Why do they need another one? Makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. And then the Chiefs signed Juju Smith-Schuster. He probably won't make much noise in the regular season, but Super Bowl will come around and he'll probably score a touchdown because that's what Juju Smith-Schuster does. All right. Let's get into Kwesi's previous drafts. I'm doing a video on it. I'm ranking these guys. So I'm going to do the ranking for you. There are 23 of them. 5 of them have not played. Kyrie Jackson, rest in peace. JJ McCarthy, Michael Juergens, Walter Rouse, and Dwayne McBride have all not played a snap for the Minnesota Vikings in the regular season. Have not recorded a snap, okay? Coming in at number 18 is Vidarian Lowe. Drafted in the 6th round of the 2022 draft, he only appeared in 4 games as a rookie before they traded him to the Patriots. 6th round pick, whatever, that's fine, Kwesi. All right, number 17, the infamous Lewis Cine, 1st round draft pick in the 2022 NFL draft. It was the first pick of Kwesi's tenure. He only recorded 1 tackle in 7 games. But we will never forget the Cleveland Browns preseason game in which the Vikings totally made the game plan around him because they were trying to flip him for like a 6th round pick and they couldn't do it. And I remember I made a video about it saying that exact thing. And everyone in my comments were calling me an absolute idiot for saying the Vikings are getting rid of him. And what do you know? A week later, they cut his ass. So don't come at me when people say I don't know ball. I know what the Vikings are doing. Come on now. Number 16, Levi Drake Rodriguez, 7th round pick last year's draft, 1 tackle in 2 game appearances. I think Levi Drake Rodriguez could be pretty good, just hasn't seen the field enough. Number 15 is Jaron Hall, 5th round pick in 2023, made 2 starts, 2 terrible starts. Well, he got hurt in one of them, but still, not great showings from Jaron Hall. He's now with the Seahawks. Number 14 is Nick Muse, Super Bowl champion Nick Muse, 7th round pick in 2022, 1 reception for 22 yards for the Minnesota Vikings. Number 13 is Asezi Otomowu, fifth round pick in 2022, 5 tackles in 5 games. He actually played against the Browns, I believe it was, and he actually played pretty good. No, it wasn't the Browns. I forget what game it was, but he actually played a couple snaps, and he actually looked pretty solid. Number 12 is Jaquelin Roy. Jaquelin? I don't know. Fifth round pick in 2023, 8 tackles in 12 career games. Number 11 is Andrew Booth. Second round pick in 2022. Man, I was so pumped when we drafted Andrew Booth. See, this is the part of me that it's tough on GMs because Lewis Seen, yeah, that was a very questionable pick. But when we got Andrew Booth in the second round, I was pumped. He was definitely one of the best corners in the draft. Like, he was up there with everybody else, possible first round pick. Andrew Booth was awesome, and I wanted the Vikings to get him. They got him, and he only recorded 20 tackles in a little under 2 seasons. Now he's playing for the Cowboys. So he's just not good. You know what I mean? That's just the tough part about being a GM. Number 10, Jay Ward. Fourth round pick in 2023, 14 tackles in 33 career games. Again, another preseason legend, a guy who balled out last season in the preseason. Number 9 is Brian Asamoah. We're at number 9, and Brian Asamoah. Good Lord. Third round pick in 2022, mostly a special teamer, but he did record 35 tackles in his 3 seasons. Number 8 is a Caleb Evans. Just wait. This list gets way, way more sad. Fourth round pick in 2022, 88 tackles, 1 interception in 2 seasons. He had coverage issues. Don't get that mixed up. Caleb Evans, man, I thought he was going to be good. Him and Cam Dantzler, they showed some promise. They just didn't pan out. Sucks. Number 7, Mekhi Blackman, third round pick in 2023. Had a pretty good rookie year. Had a lot of hope heading into last season. Of course, he suffered the ACL injury, so that kind of set him back. But I got high hopes for this upcoming season too. Number 6 is Ty Chandler. Number 6, Ty Chandler. Fifth round pick in 2022. Played in 37 games. He's played a role in offense and special teams. Just not a guy that's really making plays. Number 5, Dallas Turner. Number 5 is Dallas Turner. 4 guys ahead of the first round pick last year. First round pick in 2024. 12 tackles, 3 sacks, and an interception last season. He is only 22. He just turned 22 last month. So the sky is still the limit for this kid. And I am hoping he pans out. I think he will. You just got to put on the weight. The only thing I'm worried about is if you put on the weight, where will the speed go? If he can keep the speed up and the weight up, he's going to be a good player. Number 4 is Ed Ingram. Yes, you heard that right. Number 4 is Ed Ingram. And for all the people who are going to bash me and say Ed Ingram didn't make an impact, he almost started 3 full seasons. And when you look at the rest of this list, that is very impressive compared to the rest of this list. Second round pick in 2022. Definitely had his fair share of struggles, but again, he almost started 3 full seasons for the Vikings. Number 3 is Will Reichard. 6th round pick last season, 24 for 30 on field goals, and he hasn't missed an extra point yet. I believe that's accurate. Did he miss an extra point in the playoffs? Let me look this up real quick because I meant to look this up earlier. Let me see here. Will Reichard stats. Regular season, perfect. Oh, yeah. Regular season, perfect on extra points. Oh, yeah. Playoffs, 0 for 3. What? How is he 0 for... We didn't even... We scored 3 touchdowns in that Rams game? I'm confused. Oh, well. But yeah, Will Reichard, he's pretty good. Number 2 is Jalen Naylor. 6th round pick in 2022. Had his best season yet last year, recording 28 receptions for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's number 2 on this list, ladies and gentlemen. That's number 2 is Jalen Naylor. And I think we all know what the number 1 obvious answer is. It's Jordan Addison. First round pick in 2023. He's been everything the Vikings have hoped for. Over 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns in 2 seasons. Jordan Addison's been a stud. The only stud to come from a Kwesi Adofo-Mensah draft. And of course, we're still waiting out on Dallas Turner. We're still waiting out on JJ McCarthy. And I hope those guys pan out. Let me tell you, if they don't, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is in trouble. Those 3 drafts are something to look back on. And that is why I think giving drafts a grade immediately after they happen is the stupidest thing in the world, because the Vikings could have gotten a B+ draft in 2022. And you look at it now and it's an F, considering I don't think there is one person on this team from the 2022 draft. It's crazy. But you know what? I just wanted to take a trip down memory lane because not a lot to talk about right now about these Minnesota Vikings. Draft is coming up. We're a little less than a month away. And we'll see what happens. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to type into ChatGPT now. Name the most random Vikings player you can think of. And I'm going to get it today. I've decided that I'm going to get it today because I'm going to say Toby Gerhart, and I know they're going to say Toby Gerhart. Joe Webb. Same beat, same level of randomness. Toby Gerhart, Joe Webb. Vikings legend Joe Webb, man. I should have gotten that one. I appreciate you guys tuning in. All the support lately. It's been great. Appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more stuff. Big things on the way. And of course, if you ever want to message me, Strictly Leighton, DMs, always open on Instagram. Appreciate you guys.